trading prodigy with hundreds of thousands of followers across the internet.
You don't need to be doing that. You don't need to be doing that. You start off as a beginner and you think that you need to do all of these 0.1% things to be an absolute pro, but then you look at the best people in the world and they focus on just 3 main fundamentals that they're the best at, and that's what works for them.
In this episode, we are joined by TJR, from ordinary, humble beginnings to being thrown into the limelight with millions of dollars to his name and being the voice of the new generation of traders.
We always say like the market's going to give you opportunity every single day, but for each trader, it's a little bit different. Like sometimes I'll see Umar, for example, $300,000 on the week, and I'm like, I haven't traded at all this week. So there's just a time and a place for you to be able to execute with your strategy. For me personally, it's literally just like, I've dealt with mental health issues my entire life. I thought that money was the way out. I made a whole bunch of money. It made me even more depressed. Tried to take my life like multiple times. Thank God that I wasn't able to do that. From there, it was kind of like, okay, money isn't the key to all this happiness shit, and I need to find happiness in something else. And honestly, content low-key saved me. Being able to teach people how to change their lives and then seeing people's lives get changed, that's what I'm here for.
What is your views on people that take prop firms and almost casino the idea? It's a risk reward between my buy-in versus my payouts, and it doesn't matter if I'm following a good strategy or if I'm breaking even and partials in the correct way. What is your views on that? Because I see that as a big trend in younger traders.
This is something that I wanted to talk about on this podcast because a lot of people...
Ladies and gents, welcome back to another episode. I'm joined by a man that was very hard to find, TJR. Very glad to have you here, bro. Alex G, I have to give a shout out. He connected us, a mutual friend, and without him, this wouldn't have happened. So, bro, thank you for making time on your busy schedule, flying across the world from PR all the way to Dubai. Burj Khalifa behind you. Wonderful to have you here, bro. You're someone that's going crazy viral everywhere, and I don't think there's a trader on earth that hasn't seen you. Before I get into the serious stuff, I got to ask you, bro. I've seen a lot of clips, man. It seems half the time you're crashing out. I got to hear about this. What the hell is the Jew setup, bro?
The
Jew setup.
What did we call that? The Jewish fake out.
The Jewish fake out. I need to hear more about
this.
this.
So liquidity sweep. I mean, look, I'm not trying to get canceled, but we know who's running shit. You know.
You just mentioned in the PR, your compound, the Ritz-Carlton, every beach is public except for this one because of. Yeah, the Rothschilds and so forth.
Yeah, Rockefellers, they made a play to make sure that shit is closed off.
Yeah, well, I was. Let's get into the serious stuff. I just had to ask, bro. I'm seeing all kind of wild stuff on the internet, but a lot of the viewers here, they just simply want to learn, up-and-coming traders or trader in their first year or two. So I want to jump right in with just strategy. And if you can, very briefly, just describe your way of trading, how you look at the markets, and then we can dig deeper.
I don't even think I would want to try and convince people to trade the way that I trade. I think that if they were just to get into trading and start and find a strategy that works for them, I'm like super against the indicators and all of that sort of thing. Like, but there are people that live in Dorado Beach that are billionaires and they just trade with their own personal funds, and they're showing me their charts with like Bollinger Bands and EMAs, and I'm like, whoa, like maybe I should switch over to this. But so I don't think I should really try and force them to trade the way that I trade, but I think if they can find a strategy that makes sense to them and at least gives them a reasoning for why the market is going to move in a certain direction, and then just rinse and repeat over and over and over again. Because I think about the way that I trade, and I'm sure you're probably the same way too. Sometimes you'll go against your strategy just based off of like intuition or market experience. Like, yeah, I'm not trading in the direction that I like mechanically should have today because I've seen something that I've seen repeatedly happen before that's leading me to make a different decision. So I think that's like the biggest issue with a lot of beginner traders, and they'll always get on me in comments and be like, you didn't trade with your strategy today. And it's like, well, listen, bro, like I've been in this shit for years now. So there's something that I saw that caused me to trade a little bit differently. They'll watch one strategy video and be like, okay, do this, and then execute. And that's great to start to get into the flow of things. But then you have to like be adaptable to the market. Like you kind of want to be in a flow state with the market.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, when the candlesticks are printing, I'm just like, just moving with the market. And it's,
I know exactly what you mean. And I want to ask this question because it's important. bringing in intuition or your market experience with the years that you have, I can completely see where that comes from, and at times I will do the same, because at the end of the day, if we were just purely mechanical, then just build a bot out of it, or
Yeah,
you don't
right. And
need to
that
be here. The
and those don't
the
work.
human
So
touch, exactly, and it doesn't really yield good results. So the human element is important. However, a beginner trader thinking after 10 trades, they took a couple bad trades, but they ended up making profit. So these bad trades led to a good outcome. So then they think, let me just keep doing that, and they maybe use this intuition word a bit too early. How do you
sure.
decide when it's sensible to allow a bit of judgment, a little bit of experience versus no, stick to the plan because I'm still new.
I think that's just like you're gonna have to fall on your face over and over again until you can figure it out. What's that graph? It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect, right?
The valley of despair.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
Like
yes, yes.
you come up and you're like, because I remember when I first started trading, like my first month, like I was cooking and I was like, man, this is awesome. Like I can't wait to make all this money. And then it's just boom, down, 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 down. And then yeah, valley of despair. And you're like, wow, trading doesn't work at all. This shit sucks. And then you slowly start to figure it out. So I think everyone is just naturally going to be riding off euphoria and riding off those waves. Because I try and tell people, like, look, bro, this is just like any other skill. Like, I hate when people say, like, oh, well, day trading doesn't work. Bro, I know literal billionaires and multimillionaires that are kicking it with me at the beach that are talking about the trades that they took. Trust me, if they're doing that shit, anybody can do that shit. Yeah, maybe the percentages are a little bit lower and not super favorable, but that's with like literally any high barrier of entry skill set. Like, obviously it's going to take time. Obviously it's going to be difficult. And obviously not a lot of people can do it. But there is a chance, and you just have to understand that that's across a long ass timeline, not a month. You're not going to get super fucking good at something within just a span of a month. It's like saying like, "Oh, Tyler, go learn how to play some crazy piano piece within a month." I can't do that shit. I'm not a professional, but maybe give me 3 years and I'll be typing away.
I want to touch on this point you mentioned of your network that you have in PR or in just general that are not the influencer traders or not the younger traders, but these established older people that have been in the markets. And when I come across these people too, it's as you said, that they're doing all the things that we don't do. Like they're using the typical trend lines and the support and resistance, and we see that as liquidity, I guess. Yeah. There's a guy that is in Dubai. He's a friend of mine's family. He lives on the Bulgari island, so he has one of the most expensive villas in Dubai. And he now he's retired, he sold his business and so forth, and now he's just taken a passion for trading. And he's been doing it for about 7-8 years. And for 7-8 years, he's beaten the market. So I was very curious, like, how are you doing it? What is your strategy? Bear in mind, he's in his 60s. So he's not got a clue about ICT or the internet, nothing like that. So his approach has been, he's very, what do you call it, star sign, horoscope, that kind of vibe. Yeah. So he basically, through, what's it called, astrology? Through astrology,
retrograde,
this stuff, and there's also another guy, Julian in yes,
I love Julian. Yeah,
who's also in this vibe of just higher powers, let's say. And the gentleman I was speaking about specifically, he would have 6 gurus, let's say, that are from the Hindu religion, I guess. He would ask them for their wisdom, and if there was an alignment alongside the astrology, that was a play for him. And I was questioning left, right, center, but how, but why, but this and that. He's like, listen, son, I beat the market 7 years in a row and it's working, so I don't question it. And at that point, I was like, he's right. He's playing with hundreds of millions of dollars, making great returns, and I'm just sitting here as a kid asking him, but it doesn't make sense. But sometimes it is that simple. What experience have you had with these elder guys with a lot larger capital?
Yeah, it's a similar situation. I think when I try and explain, and this is something that I'm trying to reel myself back on, when I explain to them how I'm trading, they're always like, you don't need to be doing that. You don't need to be doing that. And that's something that I learned about like super skilled people in literally anything, like the masters of every single skill set. You start off as a beginner and you think that you need to do like all of these 0.1% things to be an absolute pro. But then you look at the best people in the world and they focus on like just 3 main fundamentals that they're the best at. And that's what works for them. So sometimes when I'm talking to these guys, I'm like, man, I need to reel my shit back. I should probably start honestly eliminating, simplifying, and just becoming way more efficient with whatever I'm doing within trading or within business. And that's going to yield way better results instead of just being super nitpicky on like, oh, if I add this, then whatever, I'll be
Right.
able to take more trades. When in reality, we should probably be trying to take as little trades as possible. If you can take one big trade that changes your life forever, that's probably the best one to take.
Are you more of a swing trader therefore, or intraday kind of trader?
No, I do intraday, but I'm like a little bit weird. I'll this is something that I wanted to talk about on this podcast because a lot of people will get into the markets and they're just like so eager to trade every single day. And I'm always saying, don't trade on high impact news days. Not that I think that there isn't going to be a good setup on a high impact news day. It's just a day to get the fuck out of the market, And like for CPI news data, that happens an hour before market opens. So I'm just like, look, if there's a big drastic move or a big news event that's happening before market opens, odds are the move is already made for that day, and you might as well just take yourself out of the market. And something that I do is I'll just go on like streaks where I'll have like, I don't know, just like 5 trading days where I absolutely crush it. And then it's like, cool, I just won't trade for the next 2 weeks. That's literally what I just did. I made like $200,000 in a week and I haven't traded for the past 2 weeks. I won't trade the rest of this week. And I'm just taking time to myself. It's also partially because I'm traveling, but I don't even want to look at the markets when you do so well. It's like, bro, just secure those profits. Why are you trying to like run it back? This is something that I notice in literally everything. Same thing with content. It's like you'll be doing consistent work and maybe see like average to consistent growth for the work that you're putting in. And then you'll have these small periods where it's just an absolute full out sprint and like blast off. And you need to take advantage of those opportunities when they come, and you need to be prepared to take advantage of those opportunities. And then when they're done, you can just like not relax, but you need to be going full throttle during those times, putting like tuning out everything, working your ass off, and then boom, go back to like steady workflow.
I want to take a moment from the episode to remind you of Alpha Capital, a long-term sponsor of the show, a leading prop firm in the entire industry. And in the last year, they did over $50 million in payouts. That's why they are a top-ranked prop firm that's been around for years and is not going anywhere. And with the multiple step plans they have and the multiple packages that they have, there is going to be something catered specifically to your needs at the most competitive pricing. And because we have a long-term relationship with them, we are able to bring you a massive discount of 20% off all evaluations. So click the link in the description or use the code TOT to get 20% off all your funded accounts. Working with the best prop firm in the industry, Alpha Capital.
It's interesting. A lot of the traders that I've had on the show that have had big success, either with prop firms with like million in payouts, or even, let's say even Umar Ashraf, another mutual of ours, where he says like 90% of his profits come from like 20% of the year. And the rest of the year, he's either sitting on cash or taking smaller position sizes. But when you would speak to a new trader who's like learning and reading books and stuff, they'll be more like the trading purist, which is one account, one long track record, show up every single day, which in theory makes sense. Like that's what the hedge funds would be doing, I guess. But then when I speak to all the traders that are actually making a lot of money, they're kind of in this in and out period. And I wonder, is it because of just you make money and you want to enjoy your life and it's a work-life balance, or it's more trading is stressful, so you need time to cool off emotionally? Or what is the reason you have this kind of go big and then retreat a bit and then come back?
I mean, the market's realistically, we always say like the market's going to give you opportunity every single day, but for each trader, it's a little bit different. Like sometimes I'll see like Umar, for example, he'll post something where he's like up like $300,000 on the week. And I'm like, I haven't traded at all this week. So there's just a time and a place for you to be able to execute with your strategy and be able to take advantage of the market. For me personally, it's literally just like, look, do I see anything? Is this worth like risking super hard on? Like Q4 of last year, I was super heavily invested in crypto and I was making a ton of money in crypto. So I was like, why on earth would I try and put more risk on into intraday trades when I'm just cashing out in crypto right now? I'm like, this is the opportunity. This is where my time is better spent.
Yes.
And some people would be like, oh, well, you could make double the money. And it's like, that's not like how it works. Like you need to put your focus on what is working right now and what's going to give you the best return.
Yeah, is those people that kind of do that online calculator of, well, if you know how to do 3% a month, calculate it across 10 years, well, you should be a trillionaire by now. Like, but it's the human side again. It's like things are not always just going to be smooth sailing. I want to touch upon your idea when you are in your trading period. you're an intraday trader, so I guess every day at a certain time you rock up to your computer and you're thinking, okay, today is a good day, or today is a day I need to just close my laptop and go back to my life. What are those initial things that you look for when you are first looking at the market for a fresh day?
Honestly, most of the time I'm going to sit through the majority of market open. So I'll get on my computer at pre-market open, so like 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know what that is.
Oh, so you do a New York Open. You're not doing London session.
No,
Okay.
no. I used to. Back when I was living in PST and back when I was living in Utah, I would stay up late and then trade London session and do Forex. But now I'm
That's
just
tough.
like
Yeah.
indexes only because, yeah, it's just blended. And I don't know. I live in Puerto Rico now, so that's it's like perfect for me. I can wake up, I can go for a walk, and I can read a book, and then boom, I get on the charts, and it's like perfect. But yeah, I wake up, New York pre-market open. I'm usually just sitting there and like just trying to lock in for like the first hour, and then really usually by around 10 a.m. Eastern time, so 30 minutes into market open, I'll have either I'm in a trade or I'll have a good idea if I'm going to trade or not. And then I'll usually, regardless, I'm going to sit through until an hour into market open. And then by then my trade is either closed or partials have been taken or
Okay.
I'm stopped out. Or there's just nothing to do and close up shop and then boom.
So intraday trader, but maybe even intra-session trader. Like if you're taking your partial within an hour or something,
Oh, for sure.
your trade duration is a couple of
quick.
hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So you would even maybe consider yourself a scalp trader.
For whatever reason, I think that whenever I think of scalping, I think of like high volume of
50
trade.
trades a day.
Yeah,
Yes,
high
yes.
volume of trades and like with like kind of within seconds. So I don't know. I always just
Fair
say
enough.
that I'm intraday.
So when you are coming to this, let's say 1 to 2 to 5 hour trade duration, I guess the higher time frame is not so important for you because you're in and out within a M5, M15 movement.
Yes, I mean, I like to look at the higher time frames. I'm never really looking at the daily or the weekly because it's like obviously we have to keep that in the back of our minds, but realistically I'm trying to catch a move of a 1 hour candlestick, right? So I'm mainly looking at the 4 hour and then the 1 hour, and then from there I'm executing on like the 5 and the 1 minute. So for me it's like, okay, I literally just need to predict what 1 hour's worth of price action is going to be for the day, and if I can look at what the 4 hours doing, maybe take a peek at the daily and see like where we're at, and then from there scale down and then get to work.
I think your style of trading, which is starting to sound similar to what I do, and I just want to explore that. But I think it gets a lot of hate in general or confusion because when somebody comes into trading, they're always taught high time frame is best and swing trading is better, and that's what the hedge funds are doing. So everyone comes in with that bias. But when you are looking at, if you were to someone put a gun to your head and say, hey, where is price action going to be 10 minutes from now? You probably guess it's like within this box. But if someone said, where's it going to be by the end of the month? Big box. By the end of the
Right.
year, like God knows where it could be. And I think that's a nice way to just understand, especially as a new trader, the shorter time frames and a shorter trade duration gives you a bit more confidence because Trump might tweet and this might go on and the Fed might do this. Like there's so much that can happen in a swing period. Shorter time frames make a lot of sense to me. When you are trying to predict a 1 hour candle movement, what is the main things that you think will drive that? I guess the market open, that time.
Yeah, pretty much everything I do is just purely based off of like what the market does right upon open. That's
Okay.
like literally like that. It's based off of New York market open, how it reacts, based off of like what London session did prior. So
Okay.
I'll look at London session. If it consolidated, I'm assuming that New York is going to open, manipulate either the highs of London session or the lows of London session, make its move. Or if London session already manipulated and it's reversing, then New York will probably continue that move. Or if London session when in like is in the process of manipulation, then New York will carry out the reversal.
So just to kind of summarize, the first hour of of New York Open is your trading window, or will you kind of wait a couple of hours, whatever it takes?
No,
Close
just
to the open.
right when the open, because that's when like that's when the market's moving for real. Like I'm kind of impatient, not impatient, but I just don't want to be sitting at a computer. Like I already do so much work anyways. It's like I want to be in and out of trades and then not be able to like go and do whatever I want with my life because I work so much anyways. But I just trading is a game that isn't super, like, I know this sounds sad, but it's not super fulfilling if you have to sit there for like 3, 4, 5 hours just to like wait and see if you can even take a trade. Like, that's not a life to be living. If you have to be glued to a screen and you have to wait 5 hours just to be able to execute, I'm not on that.
I think it makes totally sense that we are social creatures, and just tribal instincts that we have. We want to be around people. We want to help people. We want to be that community. And trading is just like buying and selling and hoping you make a bit of money. Back to this, let's say the main thing